Hello, my soul brothers and soul sisters. I am Ron Smith, and this is the Dr. Ron Smith Investigate Show, where we separate the real from fake, the fact from fiction, and give you the winner's edge. And sometimes we're able to turn your water into wine. This is season 2, episode number 17, and we are talking about FICA and credit scores. And I know basically you have been, you know, up on your annual credit report, but we're going to get into the details today. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And one of the things that the FICO score runs like this. It runs from 300 to 850. So the good would be from, let's say, 620 to 739 if you can get it, 850 if you're great. And I'm going to tell you how basically how to get there. The bad is anywhere from 500 to 400, and the ugly is 350, which is the lowest one. One of the things that you can improve on your credit score, and basically this is fundamental to everything. Have you had this person basically, if you loan money to 3 different people, the good would be the person that basically you loan money to that actually pays you back at the same time that they said that they were going to pay you back. They said they're going to pay you back on Friday, and maybe Thursday night they sent you the payment, cash app you, or any other form of way of getting your money to you. The bad is basically they paid you back Saturday. They paid you back, but it was late because you wanted to make sure you had some money moves that you wanted to make on Friday. And the ugly is basically they didn't pay you back, and you see them wearing something new. You know, you see that Coach bag, or you see those Air Jordan sneakers that just came out of the box. And that is the same way loan companies, mortgage brokers, bankers feel about you. Your credit history is a reflection of the amount of money that you actually paid back. And basically, when I said it, the company called the 3 major ones. There are others: TransUnion, Equifax, as well as Experian. And basically, these are the reporting agencies, and they report your information. And the thing about it is that the information on your credit report reflects your identity, your name, some of the aliases, your date of birth, your social security information. And one of the things that when I look at my credit report, when I first moved to the Virginia Beach area, or the 757 Hampton Roads area, there were only about 5 or 6 Ron Smith. Of course, they had different variation: Ron J. Smith, Ron L. Smith, or just plain Ron Smith. But now, when I run my name, there are over 15 to 20 different Ron Smith in this area. So one of the things when you get ready to look at your credit report, you want to make sure your identifiers reflect who you are. And one of the things they look for is your addresses of places that you live. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because those are the areas that you can look at. If that identifier is not you, those are some of the charges that you can dispute, and to make sure you can increase your credit score. And that should be one of the first things that you look at. The next thing on your credit report information is your existing credit, that being the loans, the line of credit, credit cards, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the things that is on your credit report that you need to look at. You've got to make sure that if that mortgage don't match the addresses that you've been in the past, or the credit cards or the line of credit don't match up, those are the things that basically you need to actually look for when you're actually looking at your credit report. And by the way, I'm going to say it again: annualcreditreport.com. That's how you get your free credit report. Or you can go to these other reporting agencies, the ones that I mentioned: TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian, and you can get your credit your report from there. While I'm thinking about it, sometimes each of those three that I named may have different report on you. That's actually some of your identifiers. So it's best to get all three reports. So basically you could see what the information about you that is out there. So basically to make sure that basically you are you on the credit report. And of course, another thing that's reported on is public records, which means that if there are any liens, judgment, or bankruptcy filing, make sure if they are yours, you can identify those. And if they're not yours, you can make sure you identify those too. So my suggestion is, once you get your credit report, you need to go back and highlight the items that are on there. So basically you can actually identify what's yours and what's not. And then there are other organizations that you might be a part of. And what I mean by that is basically your sometimes your rent, and if you're past due on your rent or late payment is on your rent, those things can show up. So one of the things how you can improve your score is make sure you understand what your pay cycles are, and make sure that you pay on time. I make a habit of, if I get paid on the 1st or 15th or the 30th, I try to line up certain bills to line up in certain ways. You know, I try not to make sure, and this is just me, just a suggestion. I try not to have my car payments line up with my mortgage. So if I get paid twice a month, I try to make sure that car payment is on the 15th and my mortgage on the 30th, or vice versa, or the 1st. And that's one of the things that how I keep things going. And also those three major bills, I try to do on auto pay. That way I can ensure that they are paid on time. You got to make sure, if you're doing it any other way other than auto pay, that the dates lines up when you should be paying. And one of the things that got me, that bit me in the butt, you heard my corny joke. Basically, I learned about finance by trial and error, and I'm on financial trial for my financial errors. And basically what I mean by that is credit utilization. And if I have to repeat that every show, I will, because that's the bit me in the butt so hard because I didn't understand it. And what I mean by that, and like I said, I'm gonna be redundant because I don't want you to fall prey to, especially one of the things that hit home for me once I understood what was going on. And you can remember that basically this whole platform is the talk. It's the conversation I wish I had. I wish I had somebody told me basically when I was in college not to use that credit card for food and for just buying stuff, going to the movies. That credit card should have been used for different other purposes. Actually, it should have been used for emergency purpose only. It should be behind that glass, and basically, even if I was hungry, I couldn't get that hammer to crack it open. That should be basically, if I was about to get kicked out of school because I was late doing whatever, that was the only reason I should use that credit card. But back to the point. If your line of credit is, let's say, $10,000, you should not go over $2,500, and the max you should use is $3,000 of that line of credit. That's what credit utilization is. And the thing about it is that once you are, gainfully employed, the strategy that I use once I understood what that was is that don't have about 2 or 3 major credit cards. And that way, basically, I use those things as an emergency fund, which means the emergency fund is basically, I made sure I paid it off within the credit period, which is before the end of the month. And the next thing is about how to improve your score is basically you want to make sure you have a different mix, which means basically, let's say you have a mortgage, you have a car payment, and then you have one of the major credit cards. That is a proper good mix. One of the things that I know when you look for, and basically we're talking about improving your credit. If you're buying everything on cash, one of the things that you are not doing is accumulating a credit history. And we're going to get a little bit more to that after the first break. But I want to talk about that because a lot of people say, I don't want to get in debt. Well, one of the things that you need to be mindful of, if you have to get a large ticket item, there should be some type of credit history that basically you know how to properly use credit. It doesn't matter whether you are, one of the things, it's important to have debt to income ratio. I'm not negating that because that's one of the major things that hold most people back is basically the debt to income ratio. My point right here is basically they want to see how are you responsible to even have credit. And basically that's what the mortgage company look for, the banks look for any financial institution you're looking for. It would be great if basically somebody gifted you a car. It would be great if somebody gifted you a condo or gifted you a house. Those things would be great. And I would definitely like to meet you because basically, you'd be part of the 1%. But most people that I know, basically in order to get a big ticket item, basically you have to use OPM, which means other people's money. Which that means you have to go to a financial institution, savings and loan, bank, mortgage company, et cetera, et cetera. Unless you have a very good friend or friends who actually will be able to loan you that type of money. Even at that, I'm quite sure they will definitely like to know a little bit more about your credit history and your spending habits. So that's one of the things that you need to take a look at. So basically, the first segment we're talking about, the credit score is also called the FICO score. And FICO, that acronym stands for Fair Isaac Corporation. I thought it was something else, but that's all what FICO stands for. And basically it's talking about your credit score and basically, your credit history. One of the things that I had to learn is how emotional money, people are attached to money and how it actually makes you feel. I never really thought about that until I started doing a study, is that how, when I have money, I feel great. When I don't have money, I don't feel so good. And basically it's all psychological. It's all how we grade money and how we think of money. So that is the hardest part about the credit score, is because we have been even told that basically we can have retail therapy, which we know basically that would get you in trouble. Even though, you feel good. But, matter of fact, I even know some people who go shopping, they don't even feel guilty anymore. So once we're going to take a break and we're going to continue talking about FICO and credit score and basically how is that calculated when we come back. Hey, my soul brothers and soul sisters, we are back. This is episode number 17, and we're talking about FICO, which is Fair Isaac Corporation. That's all that is, and your credit score. And one of the things that we want to really make sure you understand, because this is fundamental to your financial literacy. I have heard a lot of things that, they want to teach this in elementary and high school, and so even in college, financial literacy. All the curriculars that I have seen reviewed don't talk about credit scores. Basically, what they talk about is, your checking account, savings account, why you should, start in your investment, start saving, et cetera, et cetera. But they don't mention the credit score. And, I have I guess, a different take on that, because I think fundamentally you should understand what your credit score is and why it's important, because it's actually a grading system. We talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, in order to get to good, which is from anywhere between, I say, 620, 650, 739 to 850, it takes years to build that type of credit reputation. And I'll put it that way. One of the things that I learned as I began my study is that your parents had a lot to do with your credit history. One of the I would call it the tricks of the trade of people in the know, called what they call authorized users, which means that I designate a credit card, and I designate my credit card of my cell phone because I'm gonna pay for the cell phone. Imagine that. A couple of years ago, I could give or take a cell phone, but now it has all my information on this device. I used to have a little, I wouldn't call it a little black book because I got rid of that a long time ago, but I used to have a book that I had all my information on, all the addresses, and the ones that had all the stars on it, from three stars to 4 stars and all those listed numbers. I got rid of that one. But all the information from my friends, my fraternity brothers, and my business associates, even as I travel around the country, I kept in touch with them that way. But now it's all on my phone. So basically, that's how important my phone is that I know I'm going to pay that bill off. So I would, let's say that if I had a son that was 8 years old, I would designate him as an authorized user on that phone. So by the time he gets 18, he has 10 years of exemplary credit, of bills paid off on time. So that means that basically when he applied for a card or buy his first car, his credit would be up to that the high 750 to close to 850, because I would do some other things that make sure that he does that. And that's one of the tricks of the trade that basically I learned, since I was pretty much finding my way out of this financial, situations that I by lack of knowledge that I got myself into. And so what we're talking about is when you operate with the ugly, because when you get down to the bad and the ugly part of it, you become, you have to use those payday loans. You have to, let Walmart cash a check. You have to go to, these other, I would say, like high interest rate type credit institutions. And then you have to go, and since I was prime military, the used car lots used to line up outside of the bank because they saw the young, soldiers and sailors and Marines, knowing that basically they can, what they call it, get those loans right there at the same institution. But if you look at those contracts, they'd be so appalling almost seeing three figures percentage APR on certain vehicles. Basically, you're paying more interest than you're paying for the principal of the vehicle. But once you get into that dismal area of the bad credit rating, and you need a car, those are the lenders. I call them predatory lenders that out there that's in certain communities, especially in the Black and brown community, because they understand there is a market for the bad and the ugly credit rating. And that's one of the things that if I can get people to get out of that situation, but I would prefer to prevent people from even have to go in that direction to actually to live. And that's one of the reasons why, that's the fundamental reason why I'm here. So basically what we talked about on the credit report, and we'll go through this real quick. Your identity, which is your name, alias is your date of birth and social security number, your existing credit or the loans, line of credit, credit cards, your public records, if there's any judgments, liens, or bankruptcies filing from you, and basically if any other discharges that you have. So how is your score calculated? You know, I mentioned basically from 300 to 850 is the range of the score. So here's how your scores are calculated. 35% is your payment history. I mean, basically, were you paying on time, were you late, or no payment? Basically, that is your payment history. Remember, basically, how you, I will reiterate how you improve your score after I go through the calculation. So 35% is your pay history, basically, and 30% is your credit utilization, which, remember, as I gave you the example, basically, if you have a line of credit for $10,000, and if you continuously go over $3,000, or that's one, or if you late payments on that over the $3,000, that's two, or you totally max out the card, that's the third strike. So that is counted against you. And the next piece is 15% is credit age, which means that basically, remember I said that basically what I know now is basically I would use the authorized user for one of my children, basically your credit history. So basically your a 5-year, 10-year history is better than a 3-year history, no matter how much money you're making, because basically they know that you are either a novice into the financial world, or basically you've been buying things with cash and not even entering the game itself. The next is 10% is credit mix. Remember, I mentioned a good credit mix was like you having a mortgage, car payment, or a credit card, and all those things are paid on time. That would be a good credit mix. What would send all bells and whistles are if you have those payday loans, or basically if you're well, some of those used car dealerships don't even report your information to the credit bureau. So or if they do and they are not reputable, those things are black marks on your credit report. The next is 10% of credit inquiries, which means that basically there's what they call hard pulls on your credit, and there's what they call soft pulls on the credit. And basically, when you get ready to buy a car, and basically they're trying to identify a bank or credit union to finance your deal, or if you decide to call around these financial institutions, most of those calls are hard pulls on your credit. And the thing about it is that you don't realize it is that they are really monitoring what you're doing, the phone calls and I call the hits on your credit. So basically, if you look at it as a pie shape, 35% is your payment history, 30% is your credit utilization, 15% would be your credit age, 10% would be your credit mix, and the other 10% would be the hard inquiries. And basically, that's what makes up your either 300 score, your 739 score, or your 850 score. Those are the things that will how you're scored on your credit history. One of the things that we have to make a concerted effort into how we're going to actually maximize our, I will say, leverage. Because basically, one of the things that I talk about, and I talk about, hadn't talked about in the last couple of episodes, but remember the 5 basics. I said basically you need to earn or you create income. You need to know how to manage that. And then number 2 is how you leverage the money that you earn. And basically leverage is pretty much falls right in place with your FICO and your credit score. Is basically when your leverage is using other people's money. But if you can't do that, if you don't position yourself correctly. So basically, that's the bottom line of why this is important, because if your credit score is on the opposite side of 600, it costs you more. Not that you can't get the house, not that you can get the car, not that you can't get the loan, but it will cost you more. So basically, that is the fundamental reason why we talk about that, because that is the linchpin. Because think about it. In order to create wealth for yourself, or even a generational wealth, is basically you have to use leverage. And in order to do that, because let's say if you wanted to buy that house, let's say it costs, from right now, the average home is selling for $300,000. That's pretty much average. It's very difficult to save that $300,000 unless you're making a couple of millions. So it is very strategic for you to be able to use OPM under your current budget, which I know with the way things are going in the world right now, it seemed like, between inflation and shrinkflation and the economy, it's even very difficult to even consider buying a big ticket item. But we have to live. And the one way that basically to home ownership is a way, basically, we can start the cycle of generational wealth. And one of the ways that you can actually stop paying somebody else's mortgage. So the bottom line is, what's your score? Once you know what your score is by getting your annualcreditreport.com, then you can start going through the things that I identified that you need to be aware of. So your FICO credit score, let's make sure we know how to master our money. And fundamentally, that is one of the first things you have to do. I thank you for your time. My time is up, and I thank you for yours. Until next time, peace.